Hey everybody, welcome to a special edition of the Pod Life. I have not named this episode yet, it will come later. We have a very special guest. It is You are from Doodle Dogs, co-owner, and I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself, please.
Thank you, Darcy. My name is Megan Huchkowski. As Darcy stated, I'm one of the co-owners of Doodle Dogs here in Calgary. We are a dog boutique located in Parkdale. We specialize in bringing in, kind of our motto is chic, unique, local, and grooming.
Yay!
So we specialize in sourcing quality products. We specifically source from local, primarily, and if we can't get that, then we go Canadian, and then we go for quality overall. And we just try to keep it unique so that it kind of keeps everybody wanting to come to shop local and shop our store and keep them out of the big box chains.
I vouch for the store. Bentley vouches for the store.
Yeah, you
Bentley's
guys are
favorite store.
You guys are VIP. You're frequent flyers, and since we opened too. So thank you for that. It's very cool to see people come from when we open right up until present day. It's very special.
It's fabulous, and a lot of Bentley's followers on Instagram will ask where he gets his stuff, his clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So we direct them to you, and if they're out of town, we let them know that you have an online store.
Yeah, we totally do. Yeah, we ship international. We've shipped everywhere from Ireland, South Korea. We've shipped all over.
That's
a lot
amazing.
Of United States. Yeah.
That is amazing that people from that far away are.
Totally.
That's so cool.
Social media.
Yay! Social media.
Power of social media.
So let's get started. Tell us how this came to be.
So my brother and I own the shop together. My brother's name is Corey. He and I were both in careers that we had very successful oil and gas careers for almost a decade each. And we had both taken new positions within either different companies or different aspects of our companies, and we were both very unhappy. It was just different from what we knew, and we realized that the grass isn't always greener, so to speak. So we'd taken these new roles in oil and gas, and we weren't happy. And we talk about it a lot with each other. And we talk a lot about what it would be like to do something different. And what else could we do? And I know that probably about 5 to 10 years ago, Corey had looked at franchising a very successful dog boutique in another city, and he said to me, like, maybe this is something that I should finally do. And I was like, if you do that, I'm on board. So we both kind of developed this plan B of, do we franchise an existing successful business, or do we create our own brand? So we looked at franchising the existing business, and once I looked at that person's reviews and the communication that we were having, and of course factoring in the fact that we would have to pay her a 7 to 10% franchise fee, I said to Corey, I think for how much this woman is not communicating with us, I would prefer to do like our own brand, and then all the money can get funneled back to you and I, and we could develop something instead of just kind of working off someone else's either dirty laundry or success. And in this case, it was a little bit of dirty laundry because she had some really bad reviews that I don't think were reputable, and I don't think they were, I just don't think it was something I wanted to carry over into Calgary. Calgary needed something new and fresh.
Yeah.
We have about 50 plus box stores in the city and about 12 to 14 independents. So, it was a really good opportunity to just create something new and different. So that's where Doodle Dogs came from.
That is awesome. And okay, so tell us where the name came from.
So the name is a funny thing because most people think that Doodle Dogs comes from the breed, the mixed breed of Doodle, which is anything mixed with a poodle. So anything mixed with a poodle could be Doodle. So that's Labradoodle, Bernedoodle, Sheepadoodle. Doodle actually stems from Corey's nickname for his dog Maggie, and Maggie's a Boston Terrier. So her logo is a Boston Terrier, whose nickname is Magnadoodle. So someone had said Magnadoodle. So then Corey was like, Magnadoodle, Doodle. And then he started referring to dogs as Doodles. So our entire family would call his dogs Doodles. So we would say, like, how are the Doodles? We love the Doodles. Or if we saw a dog, we'd say, look at that little Doodle. So then when we started our business, of course, it made sense for us to use the term Doodle or Doodle Dogs.
So cute.
And little did we know that we would have like a cult following of actual Doodles. Because in our minds, we're like Doodle means all dogs.
Yeah.
Like Bentley's a Doodle, my Shih Tzu Weechee's a Doodle. Like they're all just little Doodle dogs.
That's funny because I had no idea either.
No way.
I thought it was.
You're hearing this for the first time.
I am getting this for the first time.
That's why our logo is a Boston Terrier and Magnadoodle.
That is awesome. So, okay, so you've kind of answered this, but maybe go into it a little further with. First of all, why Corey?
Why Corey the person or why Corey my brother?
Yes.
Corey and I have we have very different skill sets. He has been a very successful VP and operations lead for all of his oil and gas service companies that he's worked for. He has a very good sense of like broad operations. He knows how to lead a team. He knows how to get things running. I think I have a very creative mind and I have a very personable mind. So together we work very well together. Obviously he's my brother, so that kind of works in our favor that we were very, very good friends, but also the fact that we had the same common goals. And our goals were to get out of our current jobs and to make something else successful and to make livings off of that. And I think once you have both common goals, you work together to make it successful. And it's been going great so far. We both work opposite days, and that's another thing too. Is people always say, "Ugh, I could never work with my brother." I was like, "But we don't really work together."
Yeah.
Like we work together for a common goal, but we don't necessarily work at the shop every day together. We would anyone would murder another person if they had to do that every day.
Yeah.
We don't do that. We work opposite days. We correspond when we need to. He just called. I just saw him call me just then. Like we correspond when we need to.
Yeah.
But I like his view. I like his vision, and our core values are very the same.
That's
Deliver
awesome.
amazing products, unique products, great customer service, and I think as long as that's all the same and your financial goals are the same and how you spend your money is similar and your vision is the same, it's a perfect combination.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I think it was quite a few months in before I even realized that you guys were related.
Yeah. A lot of people think he's my husband. I'm like, we look the same.
I didn't think that, but I just thought that maybe, you guys own the store together.
Totally. Yeah.
And then
he was like my gay best friend.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then I think I was in there and you had said something. Either you or him said something about the other being
Totally.
a sibling. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, or I'll say like our parents and people
Yes.
will put it together then, or
Yeah.
if you do like a family day post or something like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will be like, I was speaking to someone on Saturday. I believe it was your husband. I was like, Mike was here?
Mike doesn't come in on Saturday.
No, Mike doesn't sell dog food.
Totally. That's funny. So, why dogs?
That's actually a funny question because both of us are crazy dog people, but we're not crazy dog people, if that makes sense. We're passionate about quality goods for dogs. That is something that we feel is lacking in Calgary. So when we go to other major cities that had really great, successful, independent businesses like Vancouver or Portland or Seattle or amazing cities like that in the Northwest, we would see quality goods. We would see quality goods on Etsy, on Instagram, and he and I both like to purchase for our dogs really cool stuff. So the biggest thing we were thinking was, let's provide a place where people can come and they don't have to get the major mass-produced, China-manufactured things for their dogs. Let's give them a place where they can come and get great things for their dogs. I wanted a place, me personally, and I feel Corey probably feels the same way too, I wanted somewhere that I wanted to shop.
Yes.
And I love the places in our city. Like, I loved Rascals. Rascals was my go-to place before we opened Doodle Dogs, and the service there was impeccable. But I wanted somewhere where I would shop and I would get the cutesy cutes, like the cute floral designs and the flowers for the collars and the bandanas and the sweaters and the hoodies and the dresses. Like, that's what I wanted for my dog.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
I found like that was kind of lacking. I went to PetSmart when I first got my dog, and I just found like the things were ill-fitted. They had weird sayings.
Yeah.
Colors didn't go together. Like, they were just mass-produced things that like no one really put any thought into designing.
Yeah. And they're cheap, and you put them in the wash, and they come out all misshapen.
100%. Or they weren't practical. They weren't things you'd want to wear again.
Yeah.
And so why dogs is because what's better to give to your very best friend than something that's high quality, gorgeous, good quality, right? You do it for your kids. I don't have kids, so I do it for my dog, but
Yeah.
I think it's important that we give them, like, we should source good quality kibble and food, then clothing and accessories kind of fall in that too for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
And
as
dogs
you
are
know,
awesome.
I'm the same.
You love dogs. And dogs are awesome. And I feel that it's funny now that I left my oil and gas job, I've seen things where they brought dogs into my old company to like soothe and de-stress and things like that. And I thought to myself like, oh, I couldn't wait around for that. So I just like left and did it on my own, right? Like, I went and created that. And now every day that I go to work, I get to like have what I refer to as makeout sessions with like the world's cutest dogs. And we do, and I do. I love it. And they heal and they make you feel good.
Yeah.
They de-stress you.
Totally.
You can't have like my husband, if I come home and I'll be like, oh, he'll say how his work. I was like, can't have a bad day at Doodle Dogs, right?
Yeah.
It's the best.
Totally.
Yeah. And people who come in with their dogs are genuinely pretty happy.
Yeah.
And in a good mood.
That's true. Because it's a fun store to go in.
I like it. Right.
So tell us and the listeners, how long was the process?
Oh man, so that's an interesting question, because the things that you think are going to take a long time aren't the things that take up most of your time when you're developing a business. The biggest issue for us was finding commercial realty space, because it has to be the right spot.
Yeah.
It has to be cost effective to match your business model. You can't have something too expensive like 17th Ave or Kensington.
Yeah.
Because we'd launched with a doggy daycare in the beginning, it had to be parking accessible, it had to be drop off accessible. Real estate in the city is very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Finding a landlord who agreed to have a space rented where dogs were frequenting, that was very difficult.
Oh yeah, that'd be a tough
especially
one.
if it was daycare,
Yeah.
right? Coming in and out, they could make mess, they could be noisy. If
Yeah.
it was residential on top, things like that. The biggest thing though, I think we started in about November of 2015, because I remember for Christmas, Corey had given me a Christmas card that said like hashtag Doodle Dogs 2016. DD 2016. Because in our head we knew we had the name. We registered in March of 2015. All in all, I would say it took a year. It
Wow.
might have taken less time if
Yeah.
we didn't have so many places fall through. We did have leases and offers in on places, and they fell through. We once wrote we wrote a letter to a landlord and begged him and said, "This is the perfect spot. This is why we love this space." And he still wouldn't agree to have it.
Wow.
And he wouldn't rent to us. And then we finally landed on this place in Parkdale across from the Lazy Loaf. Our landlord is spectacular. Our rent is affordable, and people love the space. And it's right across from the city's most successful cafe, which I had no idea.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason, which is the cheesiest thing that is the biggest cliche, but
it's true though.
Corey and I have said this entire process, every time something has failed us, we're like, well, that's okay, because we know that it's going to work out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it does, right?
Yeah, totally. Well, and that's how I found you, was going to Lazy Loaf. Like, hey, there's a new dog store.
Totally. And you know
Yeah.
what's really cool too, a testament to Lazy Loaf and everything in that cul-de-sac, is that Lazy Loaf's been there like 20 plus years.
Mhm.
And Chateau Country Lace, where in the space that we took over, was there for 19 years. Chinese food restaurant's 33, Lubetown, or the place next to Lubetown, I think it's like Parkdale Auto, that they've been there for like decades.
Yeah. The ice cream place around the corner.
Yeah, Licks has been there forever.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's places, it reeks of success in that cul-de-sac. It reeks of like a destination for people to go.
Yeah,
Which is really
absolutely.
cool. It was like we were walking into success, and that's what felt really good about that space.
Well, and the space is cute. Like
That space is so
the outside of the store is adorable.
And we have a basement, which is really great, which most places don't have. There's
Oh, cool.
parking. There's big bright windows, and again, our landlord is spectacular,
That's awesome.
and most people can't say that. So
That's
we're very
true.
lucky.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you just answered my next question. It was why location. So now we know why.
a chatterbox.
Yeah. No, it's perfect. It's boutique.
Yeah.
It's got the boutique feel.
And that's what we wanted, because right now the biggest thing that I noticed in Calgary again is that you go to any place where there's like a Costco, do you know what I mean? Like Heritage Meadows, that area. There's always going to be a Petland and a PetSmart, but there's no control over what those big box chains buy. And it's really important, and not just in the dog world, but in this city, that we support local businesses that make, and they take a chance. They take a chance by supporting local artisans that bring in quality handmade goods, but also because they get to live their dream of providing the public with amazing products.
Exactly.
And it's so unique and so special. And I made an effort last Christmas to only shop local for Christmas presents.
Yeah.
I didn't have any parking issues, no road rage, no mall rage, and everything I bought was very inexpensive and gorgeous, and everyone who got their gifts loved them.
Isn't that funny? Like,
Isn't that funny?
Like, you have to change that whole mindset of that, because most people think buy local and it's crafty.
Or expensive.
Yeah.
Which at markets it can be expensive because their booths are expensive.
Yeah.
But I found that it's quality. So if you do even pay a couple bucks more, you're paying, like, even for like a handmade hand lotion or body scrub or anything like that, you're paying a little bit more.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get better quality ingredients.
Exactly.
So instead of giving your gal pal like a mass-produced H&M t-shirt, you could get them something that was handcrafted by like a mom or someone who's making like body butter.
Yeah.
And they'll love it more.
I think that's so cool. That is so cool.
But I didn't have that mindset, right? I didn't have that mindset when I had money, ironically, right? I
Yeah.
bought online, and I I shopped primarily at the malls because I didn't have the time and I didn't make the conscious effort.
Yeah.
But now that I've seen it, I'll spread the word like wildfire because I love it. Like I love SB. I love shopping at SB. They have the most amazing clothes, and I love Liz and Lottie. I love Meraki Supply Co. Meraki Supply Co. carries mostly local brands, included coffee, sweaters, hats.
Wow. Right? Oh, I didn't know that.
So you're not only supporting one person and their dream, but also all the dreams of the people that they buy product from.
Yeah.
And like once that clicks in, you're like, it makes perfect sense.
That is so cool.
Which I'll never leave that. I'll always have that.
Yeah.
If Doodle Dogs has given me anything, it's the sense of like supporting local businesses.
And that's what we need now.
Totally. And getting that owner experience too, walking into a shop and facing an owner and getting the knowledge directly from the source and the buyer versus like, no offense to a 15 or 16-year-old, but it's a job for them, right? And
they don't care.
They don't care.
And they don't know what they're selling either.
Totally. And that can be the case, and it can be dangerous in terms of like dog food and new supplements and nutrition and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
So you have had outstanding success and quick growth. How did you do that in such a short period of time? Aside from your fabulous personalities and the goods that you carry, there has to be more. Like anybody can put stuff on the shelf.
I think, so if we're talking about like in terms of reviews, or I think for me the epitome of success would be customer retention.
Yeah.
So if someone comes back, and if they come back quickly, I know we've done something good. And that can be a whole combo of things. It could be the service they received the first time they came by. It could be the quality of the product they received. It could be the cost. There's a million factors to what makes it successful. It could have been even just the fact that like even if we had parking available for someone, that might make them want to come back. I think Corey and I do a really good job, and Corey's really good at this. I wish I was better at this, but we try to do our best with answering every single question with respect and dignity that arises. Mm-hmm. So as you know, you have a successful dog Instagram account. You get asked questions all the time. I just got asked a question here, like on our way walking from the restaurant. I was asked just a picture of we had posted a picture of a product, and someone responded like, how much does this cost? I personally have reached out to businesses on Instagram and social media and have gotten zero response. Yeah. We answer and cater to every single question.
Wow.
Any time of day. There was Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and somebody was asking Corey, like, do you have dog boots available? How much are dog boots? And I said to Corey, I'm like, it's Christmas. Can we just give it a break? And he was like, no. Like, I will not give it a break, and I will answer this person. And I was like, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you own a business, in my mind, you're pretty much working 24/7. Mm-hmm. As long as you have your phone accessible to you, there's no excuse not to answer someone. And then also provide them with a little bit of extra. So if someone says like, hey, I'd like to order this, and I'd be like, okay, well, here's a link to our website where you can conveniently order. If you have any questions, give me a call or something like that.
Yeah.
So we've made things convenient for people to order. But also our social media engagement, I think it's
awesome.
It's been the biggest source of marketing for us and customer referrals. My neighbor sent me, my coworker was talking about it the other day, things like that.
So is that you behind the social media?
It's Corey and I.
Oh, okay.
It's funny you bring that up because a friend of ours actually said, and he's a little bit younger than us, but he said that we had our own unique social media voice. And we laughed at him because we were like, that's not a thing. That's a millennial thing to say. He went through our posts and he said, this one was done by Megan, this one was done by Corey, this one was done by Corey, and this one was done by Megan. And he was right every time. He could read us in every post.
Funny.
Because we put a little bit of ourselves into the formatting of each post that we do.
Yeah.
But you can tell by the way it's written who did it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'm honestly never quite sure. Like for the most part, I think it's you that responds.
It's probably Corey.
Really?
Yeah. He's quicker than I am at responding, and he also, but the cool thing about it, and that's a success story for me, because as long as we speak in a general unison, then it doesn't matter. As long as the same customer service is being delivered, then it shouldn't matter, right? Yeah. Because you would never want to be like, oh, I want to speak to Corey. He's way nicer than Megan, right?
Yeah. Well, and then the other funny thing that kept me coming back, it was probably my second or third time in the store, and you both were there. And as Corey was ringing it, whatever I was buying in, he goes, "It's at Wolfington's Post, right?" And I'm like, "What? What? How did you possibly know that? Possibly, how did you know that?" And it was that moment it clicked, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I was coming back anyways, but now I'm coming back." It's
amazing because both of us have incredible memories. I think mine is a little bit more stronger, especially like out of the 4 of us, because we have 2 other girls that work there, and then the 2 groomers. I think that mine is probably the most. I think it's funny too, because you live your whole life having a good memory, but you never really know when to use it or how to use it. And this job is perfect for me, similar to when I was 16 working at Blockbuster. When someone came up to the cash, I would know their name.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I would know their account, and I could bring it up, and I'd pretend like I didn't know them. I'd be like, oh, John Smith. Oh, I didn't realize. And his account would already be up. And I do that sometimes at work, right? Someone will come in, and I'll say, be like, oh, you have a duct holder. And they'll be like, how do you know that? And to me, it's important that I know that, because these are the folks that allow us to have our dream, allow us to have a successful business, and without our clients, we're nothing, right? Without our vendors, we don't have a product to sell. So when clients come in, it's a very small gesture for us to be able to remember their name.
Oh, it's awesome.
Especially when someone like yourself and Megan, who come in so often, and I remember, it usually takes about 3 times before I remember someone's name. Or I'll do a trick where I'll write their dog's name in parentheses on their account, so that they come in, they're like, oh, this is my dog Archer. And then I'll look up Archer, and I'll see their name is like Allison.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be like, Allison, how are you? And I feel like it's a small gesture to make, but it makes people feel valued.
Oh, totally it does.
And people should feel valued when they come in, right?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. You guys do a great job at that. So how have you sourced your product? Because you get a lot of unique stuff in.
Totally,
Cute stuff.
It's funny, because when I look back now with Corey and how we sourced our products, we said we didn't really feel like it was a lot of effort, because it felt very natural, because we would look up on Etsy and we would look up on Instagram. Instagram was where we got a lot of our inspiration for what we want to carry, and then we would reach out to people who made products, and we would say, do you sell wholesale? And then if they said yes, we would say, who do you sell to? If they sold to nobody in Calgary, it was almost a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to be the first and the only ones who were selling it.
Yeah.
That was pretty much number 1. The biggest thing as well was sourcing local. So Calgary markets, just kind of, again, Instagram. It wasn't even about who had the most followers or who had the most sales. It was about how we connected with the product.
Yeah.
Like when we found Eleanor, she is a brand. Her name is Kira. She's a designer and a dog owner out in Ontario, and she makes like kids line now too. But when we saw her coats, we were like, these are coats I would want to wear as a human. These are coats that people in this city need. Like, this is a very, this is a fancy city. Like, we have a lot of people in the city who have very lucrative careers and have a lot of money to spend on their dogs.
Yeah.
They deserve, cool stuff. And when we found her jackets, it was like, why isn't anyone else carrying this? So sure enough, guess what happened? We bring in that coat. She lets us know. So we have pretty much an exclusive agreement with her, or we order so much she can't really keep up with other demands. She got asked from 3 other places if they could carry it.
Seriously?
So as soon as someone saw that jacket, so I don't know how people aren't constantly sourcing, but for us, it doesn't end. Like Corey, I know right now is sourcing new products.
That's funny.
And I'm gonna get mad at him and tell him no, or vice versa. Yeah. But whenever, we're always looking. You always have to evolve. You always have to be searching.
Yeah.
Because someone's always going to pick up the one thing that you've been successfully selling, and you need to get the next unique thing.
Yeah.
I think it's so important to evolve with it, because there's always a new person popping up making something new and extraordinary.
Well, it's true. And for me, for myself and for Bentley, I like us to be unique. I always like to have that one of a kind thing. And so before you guys came along, most of his stuff was sourced out of LA or New York.
Of course.
Because then I knew nobody here would have it.
Exactly. And that's the issue. And that's kind of where I think great things come from, is when you look for something and it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So that was kind of our inspiration too, was when we would go to Vancouver and we would shop at stores there. We're like, why isn't there anything like this in Calgary? And I really love dog clothes, because I think dogs look very cute in clothes, and they just look good in accessories.
Yeah.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I think that people spend a lot of money on it, and they should get things that are nice.
Absolutely.
And everyone sees their dog, so it's like a walking billboard, right?
Well, I must say that I'm known for Bentley. Oh, hi, Bentley. Oh, and his mom. I don't have a name.
Bentley's walker lady, companion. And he does, and you do a really good job with his social media too. I think your listeners should know that you have a very unique social media voice as well. You speak through the eyes of Bentley, but it's also cool. He just, you follow along with his life. I love it.
Yes. Everybody, people who aren't dog people, they're very judgmental. And they think I'm absolutely crazy. but
They don't know.
it's what we do as pet people.
They're way better than
Yeah.
humans. They're like so
totally.
much better.
Well, this will get me off onto a rant, but that's my thing about, dogs aren't allowed in so many places, and yet screaming children putting their mucky hands all over stuff can go in places, and it's like even on a plane.
Yeah.
So when we fly from here to somewhere in the States, he has to stay in his kennel under the seat.
Of course.
And yet there's little kids running up and down the aisle, and it's like,
yeah,
he would have just sat on my lap,
sticking their faces between the seats in front of you. What are you doing? These are my Skittles. Back off. You're so right, actually. It's funny. And you know what? I have never gotten a cold or flu from an animal, but I get sick every September from kids.
Yeah.
We should. Right? Are we talking about? We're gonna get. This is not good.
No hate comments, please.
It's a safe place. It's true though. It's oftentimes, and like if you go to places like Seattle or Phoenix, dogs are welcome in most places, and we will. Like I think in 10 to 20 years, especially in a city like Calgary, but. When we go through the AHS for anything, they turn it down. So Phoebe Fung, who owns Vinroom, she has 3 locations for Vinroom. She's gotten approval to have dogs on her patios. Same with Cold Garden. But they have to go through AHS, and because it was the first, they basically had to create a precedent. So she went through hell to get approval to have dogs just on her patio, not even in the restaurant, just on her patio. She created a precedent, which is cool, because now if any other restaurants wanted to do the same, they would just take like the Phoebe Fung Vinroom precedent, and they would basically say, okay, are you familiar with Vinroom? Like this is kind of what you have to do now. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. Like she's definitely paved the way for more dog involvement. But you're totally right. Like there's nothing wrong with him coming to a store. Yeah.
Well, so I took him to the mall last weekend, which I never, ever take him to the mall.
And are dogs allowed in the mall?
No.
Oh.
So, I mean, he's a purse dog. He doesn't walk. He's always in my bag.
Yeah, so he's not going to soil the ground.
No, and I was tense the whole time waiting for security to come and say, you have to get him out. But I'm like, I'm going to take him. I'm just going to take him. Mm-hmm. Tell me to leave, fine. But I'm going to take him. He's not disrupting anything. He's not running around. But yet you go somewhere like, well, even Vancouver, and dogs can pretty much go anywhere.
And nobody does anything because it doesn't matter.
No.
And now that we're getting into a field of like therapy dogs, service dogs, companions, things like that, I think it's becoming more common that dogs. So now there's going to be kind of an issue of, well, how come this service dog is allowed in here and not my regular dog who sits in a purse? Yeah. Because then people are going to say, well, he's a service dog. That person requires him because he's a companion. And that's totally fine. I think that should never be turned down. Yeah. But then it's like, well, if that dog's allowed and if it's an AHS issue because of food, then he's already impacting that. So you might as well let my dog in. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, kind of. Or maybe there's some other sort of limit, but to just no dogs, period. I don't agree with that. I really just do not agree with that.
I can see how you have to have some responsibility tied, similar to children, but like people that our dogs come into our shop and they, like for instance, I had a gentleman and they come in often and they just let the dog run. First of all, dog has to be on leash, which we have posted. They let their dog run around. The dog pees every time she comes in. Every single time the dog comes in, she pees on the floor. We have to clean it up. Sometimes they poop. That happens. It's a dog store. Yeah. But I could see that happening in other places. I could see that happening in HomeSense. I could see that happening in Winners. And the responsibility of those workers aren't to clean up dog pee.
That's true.
Right? Yeah. Like, I'd be kind of annoyed if I was like a retail worker at HomeSense. I'm like, why is there dog shit on the floor?
Yeah, that's true. And
but that falls on the owner, right?
Yeah.
And being respectful. And you were very respectful of Bentley. He sits in a purse. He's not going to soil the ground. No. But I can see people not caring.
That's true.
Because as cute as our boutique is, people still let their dog coming in and soil the floor.
Wrong.
Yeah. And we've gotten more strict about it. Like in the beginning, we're like, no problem, we'll totally get that. And depending on my mood, I'll say that. But sometimes, like, even Corey and I are like, you know what? We're just going to have a cleanup station, like, at the gym and just be like, that's the cleanup station. Here's the garbage. Yeah. There's a washroom. Well, you know what to do.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, really, yes, it's a dog store, but why should you be cleaning up after someone else's dog?
Totally. Yeah, it happens all the time. And I mean, it comes to the point, too, where it's impacting, like, our service stores, other people. We don't want people coming in and seeing it. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's also just a respect thing. Like, my dog wouldn't do that in there. And, you know, I would hope she wouldn't. And I'd be mortified if she did it in a store. Yeah. Mortified.
Yeah. Well, there was one time we went to the vet. And when he had to get on the scale, little poop came out. It's like, but it happens.
And they were probably just like, no problem.
Yeah. No big deal, we'll clean it up, and then they disinfect and it's done. But I was like, oh my God.
Of course. That's normal reaction,
Yeah.
and you would never have that happen like in a shopping mall.
Yeah. Interesting. That is a subject for another day.
Yeah.
That will allow.
We'll get there. I think we are going to get there.
Yeah. Advertising. How do you, well, I mean, I follow you because I follow your Instagram, so I see of all the stuff that you have, but do you advertise other places as well?
We've done minimal advertising, so we don't spend a lot on advertising. Someone who owned a business before us gave me some good advice, which was just open your doors and see who comes in and see how the word spreads. We did a little bit of local advertisement, so you know those little square community-based, like you'd have a Marta Loop one.
Oh, the little magazines?
Totally.
Yeah.
So those ones you can advertise in. It's pretty inexpensive. So we've targeted Montgomery, Point McKay, Bowness, and Parkdale.
Oh.
So we advertise in that not very often. It's not very expensive. We do it probably once a year. So we've done it now for the grooming salon because we launched the Doodle Spa by Doodle Dogs. So we did that one in there. We put in like a 10% off coupon if you come in, and they're pretty good. Like, the nice thing about doing something like that is you can actually see your return on investment. I know when someone brings in a coupon that they've read it, it's been effective. If I advertise through Instagram or Facebook by doing a sponsor ad, I have no idea who's coming in as a result of that.
Yeah.
So we've done that a few times. It's not effective. It's not reaching our target audiences. So social media, as cheap as it is, as free as it is, that's been our number one source. And then secondly is word of mouth.
Yeah.
My coworker, my neighbor, my friend told me I have to come in here. My breeders come in here. I'm part of a doodle group. They told me about the store. I saw a dog at the dog park wearing boots. They told me to come here. So that's been second.
That's awesome.
Which is huge, right? Because advertising is so expensive, and we get approached by radio stations, and radio stations are like, I love your store, and you should totally advertise with a 10-second segment. And I'm like, that would be cool. And I look it up, and it's thousands of dollars. And I'm like, if I had thousands of dollars, they would be in my pocket. Right?
Yeah.
And I get that some people, that's like a very old school marketing tactic, and it works for some businesses. Like I know that like radio stations will do on-site advertising where they'll do like a spa day, and they're like, hey, I'm live down at this spa place and we're selling jacuzzis today, and that works for some people. I don't know if that works for our target audience. I don't know if our target audience, which is like a 25 to 40-year-old woman, is listening to the radio, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think they're listening to radio, or they're on social media or Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't pay very much.
That is awesome.
It is. We're very lucky, actually. I shouldn't say that.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for someone who is looking to start a business, no matter what it is?
I think, it's a loaded question. I think that people should never, ever look at a business like it's plug and play. I don't think you should ever acquire a business. Even if you buy a business and it's already successful, it has amazing reviews, you're purchasing it from a previous owner, never look at it as, okay, well, I'm going to buy it and it's just going to continue to run well. I think that the biggest thing about people either purchasing a business, starting a franchise, or launching their own business is that you have to put work into every aspect of it. Whether that's coaching and mentoring your staff, choosing the right staff, developing your brand, choosing the right products, sourcing for uniqueness, or just overall like really good customer service. It happens all day, every day. Like, you don't rest. You're basically going to do that forever.
So, okay, your personality speaks for itself, but you're having a bad day and you're in customer service. How do you fake it?
It's tough. It's very tough. And sometimes, a lot of the times too, I have a habit of wearing my heart on my shoulder, or my heart on my sleeve, so to speak. So I will often say what's on my mind. So for instance, if I'm battling someone on the internet, or I got a bad review on Google, or sometimes it's just a matter of like chatting with the person, meeting the dog, if they have a dog with them, and like getting to know the dog and just changing the subject completely. Or if I know the person a little bit better, I could actually tell them what's wrong. Because I look at clients like they're friends too. Sometimes I'll just flat out say what's making me grumpy.
Yeah.
And that's not always the most professional way to do it, but it also shows the people who come in that I like them and I respect them and I look at them as friends enough to confide in them. But if it's someone I don't know, I would probably just completely change the subject. Talk about their dog, talk about their day, how's your day going? And then it kind of takes the emphasis off me, and maybe I can feed a little bit of good energy off of them too.
Yeah.
But being in customer service is funny, because whether you're a 16-year-old working at Blockbuster Video or Petland, or you're a 33-year-old woman who owns her own boutique, you are in customer service. You are in retail. It doesn't matter if you, like, people come in the door don't know that you own the store. They will treat you exactly how they would treat a retail worker. Just because you're the person getting paid a minimum wage, or if you're the person who owns a shop, they are going to treat you the exact same way. Like, I don't feel like I'm getting special treatment because I'm an owner.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want people to. I would rather people be like, oh, she's super nice, and sometimes people say things to me like, oh, like, I heard it's a brother-sister team owns this place. I'm like, totally. Like, I'll just pretend like it's not me. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. That owner guy is really nice. I love him at Thanksgiving.
He's such a jerk.
He's so tall. Yeah. And you do. It's hard. People can treat you pretty shittily,
Yeah.
and as the owner, you want to fire back and be like, get out of my store now, but you can't.
Okay, it's so tough.
It is tough.
Yeah.
If someone did it to one of my staff members, though, I get a little bit, what one of them called Mama Bear. I get protective.
Yeah.
Treat me like garbage. I don't care. I can take it. Do not treat them like garbage.
Yeah.
They don't deserve it. I do not pay them enough for them to be treated poorly, and they don't deserve it. That's the biggest thing.
Well, that's usually the whole thing, is when you see people behave in a certain way in a store, and they just have that, well, you're just a sales girl.
Yeah.
And they treat you like you're less than. It's like, you started somewhere too. You know?
For sure.
Like, and we're all the same.
Everyone should work in retail or as a server for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In their life. It should be mandatory.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah. You can be treated pretty poorly, but it's always the person. It's not necessarily you, right? It's sometimes how people, and it's not saying people's feelings aren't valid, because they're totally valid, but you have no idea what's going on. They could have a bad day, or maybe they want their dog to be like, their dog just came from the vet, so they want you to fawn over the dog or something, and like, you try your best, but sometimes even as an owner, you can get caught up just doing other things, and you don't realize that sometimes when you say to someone, hey, like, just let me know if you need anything, I'll just be over here, that they could be really craving that something, that extra attention.
Yeah,
that you're not giving to them. So you're always the best version of yourself, no matter what. Yeah. Because you have to. And that's the best way I say to Corey, is you are the best version of yourself all day, every day.
Yeah, that's true.
And you're exhausted. It's exhausting.
Well, you guys do a great job. You really do.
You're sweet. We appreciate that.
So what's next? You just opened the spa.
Yeah, so we just opened the Doodle Spa by Doodle Dogs. It's going very well. We have 2 groomers right now, and we have an online booking. What's really cool about the Doodle Spa, and again, we go for chic, unique, organic, this time it's an organic spa, is we tried to bring in things that were different. So I have a dog, I have a Shih Tzu, and she gets groomed every 6 weeks. My biggest complaint was I would drop her off at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I did not know when I was getting her back. I was either getting her back at 11, sometimes 10, sometimes 3 p.m. Because what they do is they would like kind of load up all the dogs in the morning, and then they would just like power through all of them and groom all of them, right? But depending on which dogs needed the most attention, they would do it in whatever order. I didn't know that. So I said to Corey, I don't like not knowing when I get my dog back. We want to treat this like a salon. We want to treat this like a human salon. Because if we're going to claim we're chic, we have to be different. Yeah. So, just like any other salon, just like a Mind Body app, you would go into our Reservio system or on our website, and you would book what time slot you want to come in. And so that way we don't have to listen to barking dogs all day. Great for my brain. Great for my sanity. But also people can have safety in knowing that their dogs aren't being kenneled along with 8 other barking dogs. They can take solace in knowing that when their dog gets dropped off at 2 p.m., there's maybe 1 to 2 other dogs in pens, not kennels, and they'll get their dog back in like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we text them and we'll be like, hey, your dog's almost ready, come by.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it's at other people's convenience. Yeah. So that's really where our focus is right now, is just kind of launching the Doodle Spa, thinking of ways to keep it unique, seeing what makes it different. Like, I'm hearing a lot of people say, like, well, I'm really upset because the last place I went to, I dropped my dog off and they skinned them. They shaved them down to the skin. And I'm like, what happened? How does that happen? How do you drop your dog off and not know what you're getting? And that doesn't just apply to grooming. That applies to everything in life. You don't go to a hairstylist and be like, yeah, just take a little off the ends and leave it like a blonde bob. You don't, you know what I mean? Like, there has to be some communication along the way that, I don't know. So the biggest thing is just for me, it's listening to what the clients are asking. Listening to make sure that the groomers are hearing it, and they do, and they're asking the right questions, and I'm asking questions too. And just nobody's lying to each other. There's no surprises. That's always fun, right?
I brought my big fluffy dog in, and he came back naked.
How does that happen? Like, so we call people and be like, listen, I'm taking a look now. We've washed the dog. They're severely matted. Here are your options. You can have a say in this. It's so fair. And we get surprises too. Like, we'll get dogs dropped off and the groomer will be like, this dog bit me a bunch of times. And then we'll say to the owner, like, yeah, they're kind of bitey. And they'll be like, oh yeah, they totally do that. And we're like, that would be nice to know. So now I ask. I'll be like, how was your dog with tools? How was your dog with a hairdryer?
Yeah.
Because I want the girls to be safe. I don't want them to get bitten or barked at, right? And it's never fun. Like, you're basically a principal's office calling someone's dog. Come pick up your dog.
Too funny. There was a story posted the other day. It was the little Chihuahua, the little Chihuahua-looking dog.
Yeah.
That was so cute. First, there was the picture in the tub.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Oh, hey there.
And then when the
Ashley,
girl was grooming and it was up against her, I'm like, oh my god, that is so cute.
So one thing that's really cool about that dog, her name is Paisley, is she's actually, not only is she going through chemotherapy, which I know, right? The thought of any dog going through chemo, but she's, so anytime I've tried to approach Paisley, she's been held by her parents, so she won't allow it. So I've never actually touched or bonded or acknowledged Paisley because she won't like it, right? When she went into the grooming experience with Ashley, she took to Ashley right away.
Funny. That was adorable.
Oh, she was so cute. My dad loved that. My 65-year-old Newfie father loved that. He squealed at me and said, Megan, go, hurry. And I was like, what is this? Is there a fire? Is something going on? I came back and the little Chihuahua was being bathed and my dad was losing his mind.
Yeah, that was...
He loved it.
Posts like that would be, like, for me, that would be like, okay, this place is safe. Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
I trust, so my dog's getting groomed there tomorrow, and I trust those girls very much. Like, now having watched them for 2 straight weeks, groom dogs, I totally trust them, 100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and just learning about what their craft is, too. It's really important to me that I know what they need to be successful, but also learning what they're doing. Like, I want to confidently say back to clients, this is what they have to do in order to achieve what you're asking. It's not going to happen. Right? It supports them, and it helps them, and it's 2 people basically affirming what they couldn't do on their own.
Yeah. Well, and there's nothing worse too than you take your dog and you say, okay, well, I want him to look like this. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, sure. And really, it's not possible. Like, I appreciate the feedback to say, don't do that.
Totally.
Yeah. So, well, that took me to the last of my questions, and it was a complete pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
And I hope that you will join me again for another podcast.
Anytime.
Different topic, perhaps.
Anytime.
Something else.
I know we can talk about feminism.
That is a must.
That's a good one, hey?
Yeah, that is a really good one. I'll even let you write the questions.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Isn't it, though?
We can get a couple other people in here, too.
Yeah, that'd be so much fun.
We ring Megs 1.0, Megs 2.0.
Exactly.
Unlike the update that had like bugs in it. Megs 1.0 is the original. She's the OG.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, thank you very much for joining. Mm-hmm. And to anybody who lives in Calgary, please take your doggies to Doodle Dogs in Parkdale because it is the best store in town. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Thank you, Darcy. So, appreciate that.
Thanks, Megan and Bentley. Yes.